kids.
All right, we'll go ahead and call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Tuesday, March 28th, 2023. We'll go ahead with the roll call.
Chairman Ryan Green.
Here.
Jesse Koppel.
Here.
Ben Lee.
Here.
Walter Robb.
Here.
Steve Dyer.
Here.
All right, Pledge of Allegiance. We don't have any Girl Scouts today, so we'll make do. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move on to public comment that is not on tonight's agenda. Is there any public comment? All right, we'll go ahead to approval of the minutes. I'll make a motion to approve November 22nd, December 7th, and February 14th in a block.
Second.
Ben Lee.
Yes.
Steve Dyer.
Yes.
Jesse Koppel.
Yes.
Ryan Green.
Yes.
Walter Robb.
Yes.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to our tabled application. This is application Z-22-159, the zoning amendment tabled August 9th, 2022. Have we had any movement on this?
No, we have not had any movement from the applicant. I actually reached out to our legal team last week, and they are going to place a call with the applicant just to see where we stand, if they would like to withdraw the application. It is our understanding that some things have changed on that particular property. It is now relisted. So at this point, we would like to move it off the desk. If they decide that they don't want to withdraw the application, it would probably be staff's recommendation that it be brought off the table and then voted accordingly, however you seem fit to approve, deny, or recommendations of other things that could consist of either a denial or approval. So I would imagine that may come to you next meeting. We're waiting on, like I said, our legal staff to connect with the applicant, just as a courtesy, to make sure that we're trying to reach out the right way.
Okay. All right, so this time we'll go ahead and leave that on the table. Does anybody have any objections to that?
None.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to application Z-23-14, the zoning use permit for 105 Jersey Street. If we could have our applicant come up to the podium. And staff, if we could get a background on this.
Sure. I am just going to read pretty much verbatim from what I have. So my highlight reel is all the way on the back, page 18. So the project narrative, the applicant is proposing to construct 2 homes on potentially 2 lots. And I use the word potentially 2 lots. That would be another application that has to come before the zoning commission. Depending on the outcome tonight, there would also need to be a lot split variance that would exist with this board as well. So that's why the word potentially 2 lots is located at 105 Jersey Street in the UR2 zoning district. The applicant is requesting variances to multiple sections of 114904 of the codified ordinance. There are 5 specific variance requests. The items are highlighted in your packet. The entire variance process is included for your reference as well. There's those procedures and steps that you typically walk through whenever you're doing a determination. So I've put that in the packet. So like I said, there's 5. I've highlighted those 5. Depending on whichever you decide, I would recommend that you identify those 5 items verbally whenever or if a motion is made. The last part of my staff report basically states staff would encourage the board to review the following factors as outlined in the ordinance when considering a variance. Staff would also recommend special attention be given to section 1133.03. I've highlighted that 1 page prior, actually 2 pages prior. If approved, this should be provided to delineate the current application from other variances or requests brought forth to the zoning board. So the reason I want to highlight that is anytime you do a variance, you want to make sure that you're delineating why this is a variance, so that way you're not setting a precedence for other applicants to come through with kind of a blank check. In similar circumstances or non-similar circumstances, those need to be defined each time the application happens with a variance. So that's pretty much it. I'm more than willing to answer any questions. But I, like I said, would recommend walk through the procedures. There are procedures in place. Absolutely. Mr. Lee?
I do have a question.
Yes.
Procedurally, wouldn't it be more typical to have the lot split heard first before this type of application? Because at the end of the day, we could approve this, in theory, one scenario, but nothing can happen until the lot split is granted.
Correct. I would concur. I think I was late to the game as to how this was kind of brought forth, so I'm going to defer to Jim. I think there was some logic on the zoning inspector's mind as to why we would go through this particular process. And so this is the applicant's process, and I don't know if it was advised or this is the process the applicant wanted to go through. So I will defer to Jim or to the applicant. They're the ones that filed the application.
We discussed it, and I kind of made a list of steps, and I went back and forth whether to do the lot split first. If the lot split was done and approved, what the purpose, what would be the purpose of doing a lot split? This gives the project a purpose prior to the lot split.
It's a good question.
Yeah, I've seen this done both ways here. So that's what
We've done it
always
both ways.
that's what always keeps this process interesting. I've seen it done both ways, where it's a conditional use of the lot split and things like that. So
I'm currently
maybe not a bad thing in the future to
No, I'm-
iron out in a flow chart.
currently working on a flow chart that's going to give specific procedures for things as they lay out, whether it be a zoning certificate, a compliance certificate, a COA, which board they come to first, which board they come to second, and just so we can be consistent. So I would concur, Mr. Lee.
Well, I mean, let me ask the question, just let's play both sides, right? This is approved, lot split isn't.
Yeah.
What do you do at that point?
It's a risk either way.
I
So that's
disagree.
where-
I think the bigger risk is this scenario rather than going
It's
through the
best
lot
for the
split.
applicant either way.
Because at least with the lot split, you know whether or not you even have the ability to do it. It seems like going it this way kind of ensures that the lot split's going to be there.
And also, I took into consideration, Mr. Dow had already built a house on exactly the same sized lot as what this is when it's split into .38 acres. On each piece would be a .38.
And while I don't disagree with that, I still think they're two separate scenarios, but
Right.
I don't
But
feel
we
like
are
this
here,
is-
so,
What's that?
like, yeah, so what do you recommend? You recommend that he?
My suggestion, we go through the lot split first, because if the lot split doesn't happen, then there isn't a need to have any other kind of hearing on the detail of the balance of the project. Because if the lot split isn't justified, then the balance of the project isn't justified. If the lot split is justified, then the balance of the project is, but here, I feel like we're hearing details before we've got the 30,000-foot view.
Right.
That's my
Right,
opinion.
okay. I like
Yeah.
that.
It's not the first time we've been in this scenario. We've done that. We've done it that way before, where we do the lot split first. So, and I've seen that. Now, we don't have a lot split application in front of us. So that's what I would say. We can go back and make our applicant go back through the process to do the lot split application and.
Well, I wouldn't say go back through the process, because that's gonna happen,
Right.
in my opinion, it should happen one way or the other, as the nature of this project comes up, but the lot split seems to me the logical first step when looking at wanting to build two homes on currently what is one parcel.
Right.
Because right now, I can't justify approving anything in here, because we don't have a
Until you see a
scenario where
lot
you can
split.
build two homes on one lot.
Right.
So, that's my opinion.
Yeah,
The purpose of
I
the
would agree.
variance is to do something that's outside the norm.
Well, if we hear the
And in
variance
this
and we
case
approve
is-
this variance, then anybody can come in and submit any application to build 3 or 4 homes on one lot and then do lot splits after the fact.
And then anybody, and at the same time, the board could turn those down.
I understand what you're saying, I just don't agree with the order of operations. But I understand what you're saying.
And we'll do whatever you want to do. Just to clarify where I was at with it, when I first heard about the applicant, I think it was a lot split conversation that was had. As Steve said, we're here now. That's kind of where I was at whenever I saw it come across my desk. The notifications had been sent out. The applicant had already filed. I thought we were here now. I'm not going to, out of respect for the applicant, try to walk him back through it because, like I said, everything had kind of went out at that point. So knowing that, and this would be my advice, whatever determination you had, if it was an approval, denial, but let's say it is an approval, it would have to be an approval contingent upon the approval of the lot split. That was the workaround that I saw that could be done. I was expecting a lot split application when this came through. It was a variance for 2 houses with all the other items that are existing. So when I'm going through the variance to identify what the variance is for, it was rather complicated. So I'm trying to navigate it with what the information that I had. So we'll get that corrected in-house.
Yeah, I'm nothing on staff or anything like, I just,
No, you're
I
fine.
think before too, we've heard scenarios where you've had, for the same parcels, you've had a lot split as application 1, and then you've had
Right.
this variance as application 2 in the same evening. That way you cover all your bases. one
Yeah,
way
because
or
there's,
the other in the same
there's
evening.
housekeeping that has to be done on this lot for how it currently sits as 2 split lots, because it has to be basically joined and then split in a different direction.
You would have to have a lot combination, then
Right.
a lot split. It would all come in as
Yeah.
one, so.
I mean, the hard work has been done, in my opinion, with this application because it's more detail that's been involved. But regardless, the lot split is gonna have to be heard one way or the other.
Oh, absolutely.
So, honestly, procedurally, my opinion would be to table this and do the lot split and the application all at once, but have the lot split first and then the second. I understand that we're all here now, but technically, we're all here 2 Wednesdays out of 1 every month, so.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be housekeeping done on this at one point or another. Now, we can approve or not, and if you approved, you could make this as a conditional part of it that they have to do the lot split. And I've seen it done here that way before. Right or wrong, I've seen that done here before. I agree with you, because I would like to see the housekeeping side of this done before we hear anything about what they're gonna build.
Now's the time to find that process.
Yeah. All right, well,
1 of 5, that's me. Just saying.
Do you want to make a motion?
I mean, the applicant, with respect to the applicant as well, I
Let
mean,
him decide.
I would, you've heard my rationale, my suggestion.
Doesn't sound good.
Well, I wouldn't say it doesn't sound good, I'd say that it sounds,
Well, can I at least just show you what I was trying to do, and since I'm here? Is that,
if you want to move forward with it, I think that's your prerogative since we're here. I
Okay.
think I've stated my rationale, but.
yeah, and no disrespect, but yeah, I'm already here, I might as well just do it. So here's what I did on Payne Street, and I just want to show you guys that you guys approved. It's kind of like so these are basically, I have a 50 by 150 lot. This lot here, and then that's kind of like, this is my neighbor and this is me. This is what we already did on Payne Street. And so I can show you guys too. So that lot on the White House is 50 by 75, and Brian's still familiar with it, he'll come with the fence. But, and then what I'm asking to do is basically put 2 houses that look just like, are very similar to that. One facing Williams, which would be like this house, and then my neighbor's 2 50 by 75 lots. I got a 25-foot backyard, fenced in, front yard, I got about a 20-foot yard, and about 8, 9 feet on the sides. So, I mean, it fits in real nice, it looks nice in the neighborhood. I've gotten lots of compliments about what I did with that empty lot. It also provides, a little bit more affordable homes in the area compared to, say, Leafydale or behind TSC, like they're not $500,000 homes. So it gives someone else a chance to maybe like in the 300 range, 325 to have a brand new house, which you don't have that opportunity in Johnstown. It also is gonna provide the city additional house or two, really, I mean, two. That's also gonna be a $16,000 tap fee coming you guys' way with property taxes forever. So, I mean, that was kind of just my thought process, and so it's definitely doable, and it's even the backyard's plenty enough for a swing set and a dog, and I have a 12 by 20 patio back there, and so it's not like we're smushed in. It's kind of, it matches the neighborhood in my opinion, and all the neighbors around me love what I've done with it helps their property values, so I don't really see a downside to it, but
All right. We appreciate your presentation. I think at this point, I mean, I do agree with Ben. We are here, but this is a process that we've seen before. We'd like to see that lot split happen. I think that's probably the best way to bring it through, is come in and say, do we even want to do the lot split? Because you can't do the project without cleaning up the lot first.
100%.
So, I mean, that's fairly obvious, and we've seen this before, and I think that is the process that we want to see going forward. Can we get language together on that and table this and bring it back?
So I'll always defer to the applicant. The city doesn't.
No, I understand that.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, would you be in favor of that, or would you like us to rule on the project as submitted tonight? Would you like us to do the lot split language, or would you like us to vote on this tonight as presented?
Well, I guess I don't know. I don't know. I thought this is what I told you, this is a process.
No,
I'm gonna
I
give
definitely.
a yes, and then, by the way, no next time. So this is what I told it was a process, so I guess. it's
Yeah,
up to you guys.
I definitely understand that. So we have, like I said, we have seen this before. We come in, there's a process. We are working, as everybody knows, we are working on the process, and to streamline things every day. So, we like to leave things back to the applicant on whether you would request a tabling. I think I would at this point, just to get things cleaned up and give us a process going forward. Sorry to do that on your application, but.
What do you have to send?
these
You wouldn't have
kinda-
to send out new notices or anything if we table it.
You would.
You would.
Just from a procedural, so.
You would have to go back through basically the same process.
Yeah, the applicant would, if he requested you all tabled, or if you all made the motion to table it, then the applicant would have the option to then file, from hearing your all comments, to file for a different variance, for a lot split, and then move that process forward, and then you could then vote on that one. And then immediately after that, you could hear this application as well. It's really however you and the applicant want to go through this.
Yeah, typically we used to go through it and we would have that kind of thing, then we would have a COA, and then, we would go through. That didn't happen in this case with the application.
Could we make a motion that council would apply his fees to the new application? His fees already submitted?
Council has to waive those. You can make a recommendation, and then they could determine whether or not that could be waived. I'd have to check on that, but I think they can be
That's
waived,
how
but
we've
only by
done it.
council.
Right, but going in the same vein as we're trying to clean these things up, we're trying to do the process and we're trying to go about it the right way, I do agree that it would probably be nice to do that. But again, if the applicant doesn't want to go that route, totally get it.
It doesn't seem like a good idea to go against you guys, right? If I'm being honest. So I don't think I don't think there's a choice here, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you're saying at your request, we can table this?
yeah.
Okay. All right, so at this point, I will make a motion to go ahead and table at the applicant's request.
A second.
Steve Dyer.
No.
Jesse Koppel.
I'm going to recuse myself because I have ongoing business dealings with the applicant.
Ryan Green.
Yes.
Walter Robb.
Yes.
Ben Lee.
Yes.
All right, so.
Motion to table passes.
So at this time, we're tabled, and, of correspond with our staff. We'll get this cleaned up on that side.
Yeah,
And,
you'll have to file for a lot split online, just like you did this.
Okay.
A lot split's only $100, doesn't require any mail outs or anything. So it's just, basically a lot split is basically a procedure that a lot of cities don't even take them to the zoning or planning commission. They do them in-house, so
Okay.
we'll do this.
All right, appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, at this time, we'll go ahead and,
I wanted to do, how much was the application fee for this one? Just,
The variance, by the time you add it all up, with contingency letters and the sign that goes on the lots, about $550. I take that back.
you wanna make them?
Do it.
You're wanting to make the motion to recommend
Do
to
it,
council?
Jesse.
well, since I
Is
recused
that what you're,
myself last
that's what I was gonna say, that's
Just
the
do it,
feeling that
Jesse.
I'm getting out of this?
Get it over with.
Since this is residential, it was $279.
I would
It
second
was
that.
$550 at commercial.
At this point, knowing that the lot split was gonna have to happen one way or the other.
Right.
It makes sense to have that application fee applied in this situation. I think
For
the
sure.
scenario where you would ask for a refund is if the lot split isn't
Right, because
approved,
we would have voted
variance.
this tonight,
And the
and if it
variance,
passed, we would have had to go make it conditional on the lot split, and then he would have had to come back on the lot split, and that's what we're talking about. It's messy how it came in,
I
so
just want to make him.
he would have had to
you
come
know,
back.
Fair to the fair all around. If
we have reapplied and asked for application fees to be adjusted when there has been requests for changes in procedures and what has been presented to a board or committee or to council before, so that's not unprecedented.
Right.
In this case, for me, the determining factor of when to ask would be after hearing the lot split application in that order. And if the lot split is approved or denied, then I'll tell you whether or not there will be a hearing on the variance. If the variance comes up for discussion, then
Right.
the application fee is sufficient. If it doesn't, then there's probably grounds to have a discussion around waiving, with the exception of postage or something to that effect, a fee like that, because we are asking for a change in how we're hearing
Yeah, that's,
this information.
yeah. Because doing it the way we've done it before, we would have approved this possibly tonight, made it a condition. He
And
would
we
have had
did
to
it
come back
for
and.
the hearing
yeah.
for the signage on the
did.
Baptist church across the street when they came, because we asked them to apply for a different type of request, but we reapplied their application fee to that new request rather than having them pay the application fee.
We also changed it around down Main Street. There was another project down Main Street. We've done that before, a couple times.
Yes, I agree, it's premature.
So we wanna bring you even with everybody. Okay, so we'll,
Can we have the opportunity for public to comment on this? I don't know if some people here-
so we would have public comment on the lot split when that comes back.
Okay.
Because right now, basically, this doesn't exist until the lot split
Okay.
happens. I appreciate if there was public that came out to comment on this tonight. We'll go ahead and,
Do you want people to comment or you don't?
so, no, we're not gonna have public comment because basically with the lot split, that application does not exist yet. So when we have the lot split, we'll have people come back in and you can comment on it then. You can also, if you have comment on this specifically, feel free to forward us a letter or an email too, if it's not convenient to come back. We'd be happy to hear from you. We definitely want to hear public feedback on any
So you're not
application.
gonna hear it on applicant, the splitting, or any of it tonight?
So not any of it tonight, no. We have some housekeeping we have to do unfortunately before we do that, and we want to make sure we apply this evenly. And you can comment on that.
Oops, sorry.
if you have comment on this specifically.
Sorry, I
Sound good.
Nobody likes hearing their own voice. I'll tell you that. Okay, so we'll move on to our zoning inspector report. And the rest of the meeting may get a little bit dry, so I understand if anybody wants to head out now.
Total new homes, month to date for end of February was 6. And in February, we got 5, obviously. The there's 35, there was 35 lots. We've reduced that, we're down to 26, I believe now, or 27. February, there was only 18 permits, you can see there.
No pools.
We got one new wall sign in town. The BMV just put up a new wall sign.
What happened to the market?
Basically, it's the same thing they had, just a fresh sign. Property on William Street has been in court multiple times. As of today, the people were supposed to be going, but they're not. And the clerk of courts let me know early this morning that they've been postponed another month. So they're still there on William Street. The other house on William Street is still under court order, has some serious painting that needs to be done. According to the property owner, he's still waiting on weather conditions to be right. New business applications, Keller Williams Realty on South Main. And that gave us 6 offices, but now we have another one. Caldwell Banker is opening
Same
an
business.
office at 6 South Main Street.
Yes.
Thanks, real estate and pizza.
Thanks
And hardware. That's what we do here.
Auto parts.
Larry now gonna be rich. with all
I'm
these
pressing for
realtors.
Greek. If I could get us a Mediterranean restaurant, I'll be excited.
Armstrong County plant, when I wrote my report here, they were basically, the frame is up now. All the exterior framing is also completed. They're ready to side the building.
Okay.
The other departments we talked about, Ace Hardware, they're good to go. The contractor has been just kind of tightening up some loose ends, and he wants to break ground as soon as the weather permits. And Leafy Dell Cogman Apartment, I don't know any more than I did before. Sean, you got any update on Leafy Dell, the Cogman Apartments?
Only that, I mean, the project's met all the requirements, so it's in the stage of moving forward. I mean, you all saw the final plans and things like that that were submitted, so nothing new. I would imagine they're possibly gonna break ground this year. Haven't heard anything from them for probably about a month now, so at this point, it's in their camp as to when they wanna start, when they wanna wait, so I don't know when they're gonna break ground.
All right. Is there any other business tonight?
We're about to receive our first tree removal application, so not sure what to expect on that. There's been a lot of time and money invested in getting it to the point that it'll be submitted, so.
I understand there's a lot of trees removed today, over in Concord East. They started removing trees today over in Concord East. So,
That didn't require any permitting.
When does it require, just out of curiosity?
Well, from the point of time that the ordinance was created, Concord Crossing was already in process. So from that date forward.
So that's a newer.
For commercial only,
Okay.
Oh, commercial only.
not residential. Yeah, Steve's got a tree problem in your yard.
My neighbor has a tree problem.
well, he had,
I do not.
He had a tree problem. There's no problem now. I just drove by it. Problem. Now he's got a firewood problem.
Right. For housekeeping issues, since these weren't submitted with the applications, we should return them, right?
Yes.
Or should we keep them?
We
You want to
can,
pick these up?
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and make a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor? Aye. All right.
Nice, quick meeting, boy.